Hello everybody, it's Lisa and welcome to a new video. So I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. Is that what it's called? Mid-year freakout book tag? Something like that. The mid-year book freakout tag. That's what it is. That's what I'm doing today. I'm really excited to be doing this video because I kind of started my channel last year around this time of year, but I didn't do this tag and I am very excited to do it this year. I love watching these tag videos, so I'm very excited to get into this one today. So yeah, there's no need for a long introduction. Let's just get right into the questions. So the first question is the best book you've read so far in 2020. I need to get Goodreads up. I'm not going to be able to remember things. I hope you know that I'm not going to be able to just give one answer for this. I'm going to have probably a lot of books for a lot of different answers because I can't make decisions. I definitely think Radio Silence, it's right here. Radio Silence is definitely one of my new favorite books. I genuinely loved this story so much. I think it's so important. All the discussions with friendship and the internet and sexuality and the pressures from school. There's just a lot of different important topics that I think are really important for people to read, especially kids in high school that are going to be graduating soon. I think this is a great read for them. Definitely one of my new favorites. I also read The Hate U Give this year. I read this for the first time, I think back in March, and this was amazing as well. I need to read her other book, On the Come Up. I think it's being made into a movie, which is really exciting, and I still haven't seen the movie for this either. But I loved this book. I think it's so heartbreaking and also very important for what's going on right now. I know it's kind of annoying that everyone sees this going on and everyone's like, oh, recommending The Hate U Give, and that's all people are recommending, but it genuinely is such an important story, and Angie Thomas is such an incredible human being, not just author, but just incredible person. So I loved this book. I want to continue to support her. I need to get on the come up and read it and then continue to buy and read all of her books because this was amazing. Also, while I was putting that away, I grabbed another book, Chain of Gold, Cassandra Clare. Another favorite. This was so good. Every book Cassandra Clare puts out, they just continue to get better and better. And this was no exception. Plus, this is just the most beautiful cover I've ever seen. It's such a good continuation of the original Infernal Devices trilogy, which are some of my favorite Cassandra Clare books. I feel like this trilogy could potentially become my favorite Cassandra Clare series that she's written in the Shadowhunter world, but we'll see. This is only the first book, but I have very, very high hopes for the rest of the trilogy. So the next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2020. I have two, I think. I definitely think Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins is the best sequel I've read this year. I also read Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo, so that could also count, but that's up there in the little box set, and that is too much effort to get out. So that one as well, but I read the Hunger Games trilogy for the first time starting in February? Yeah, I think I started it in February. I don't know, but I read this a few months ago, and I think that this is the best book in the trilogy. I thoroughly enjoyed reading this trilogy, and I think that this was so good, so this definitely is the best sequel I've read this year. The next question is a new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I just recently got Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo and also A Song of Wrath and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown in the mail, and I'm so excited to read these. This book sounds like it's going to be amazing. I feel like if I don't love this book, like it's not possible. It's not possible that I'm not going to love this book. The world, the magic system, the story, the enemies to lovers trope in this, it just sounds amazing, and I'm so excited to get into this one. And with Clap When You Land, I have heard so many good things about this book. I have not heard one person say that they didn't like it. I feel like I've only seen 4 and 5 star reviews for this book, so I'm very excited to get into this one. I think it's going to be quite emotional, but I'm ready. I've never read anything by Elizabeth Acevedo, so I'm very excited. Yeah, so definitely these two I'm very excited about. The next question is most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I have a whole shelf on Goodreads for releases coming out this year, so I'll have that linked below if you want to check it out. For the second half of the year, I would say I'm really excited for Cinderella is Dead by Kaylin Mayron? Cinderella is Dead. Very excited about that one. I'm also very excited for Star Daughter by Shweta Thakrar. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly. I really should look them up. I'm also very excited for The Lost Book of the White by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Eldest Curses trilogy. I didn't love The Red Scrolls of Magic, but I'm still excited for the second book. Also, A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and Instant Karma by Marissa Meyer. There's so many good books coming out in the second half of this year. I'm so excited for so many of them. So definitely go and check out my Goodreads shelf to get the extended answer, even though this answer was already way too long. So the next question is biggest disappointment, and I'm gonna have to go with Mockingjay, which is funny that I said Catching Fire was my favorite sequel, and now this is the biggest disappointment. I definitely didn't dislike this book. I know a lot of people like hate this book. I didn't hate it. I just don't think it's as good as the first two, and for that reason, it was disappointing. The first two books in the Hunger Games trilogy are so good that I was just expecting this to be on that level, and for me it personally just wasn't. This was probably the biggest disappointment, but I still liked it. I didn't hate it. The next question is the biggest surprise. I actually don't have my copy of the book that I want to answer for this because I let my sister borrow it, but The Guest List by Lucy Foley or Foley? Lucy Foley? I'm not sure. I've heard it pronounced a couple of different ways, but this was definitely the biggest surprise because it's a thriller, and I don't read thrillers. I typically read fantasy and contemporary, sometimes historical fiction. I don't really read thrillers that much, so this was like the first thriller I've ever read, and I really enjoyed it. I read it insanely fast. I read it in like less than 24 hours, which the past few months, that is an accomplishment because I feel like I have not really been reading that much the past few months. So I read it really fast, and I really, really enjoyed it. It definitely made me want to pick up more thrillers, and I think that that is just a surprise that I liked a thriller because I don't really read that genre, so definitely that one. So the next question is your favorite new author, whether that's a debut author or it's new to you. I would say Angie Thomas is probably my new favorite author or a new favorite author. I really enjoyed Angie Thomas's writing, her characters, everything, and I also just, like I said, really like her as a human being. So yeah, she's definitely becoming like an auto-buy author for me. I need to buy On the Come Up, and then I will continue to buy her books for as long as she releases them. Next question is newest fictional crush. Do I have one? I feel like I don't really get fictional crushes that much. I think probably because I still read a lot of YA, and I feel like a lot of times YA characters are like 16 to 18, and I'm 21, so that doesn't necessarily happen anymore. Oh, I know. Why didn't this come to my head first? Finnick? Hello, from the Hunger Games. I love Finnick. I think he's great. I prefer him over Peeta and Gale, not for Katniss, just in life. So yeah, definitely Finnick, I would say it's the answer to this question. How could it not be? So the next question is newest favorite character, and for that I think I'm gonna have to go with Katniss. I know I'm giving a lot of Hunger Games related answers, but I read them for the first time this year, so they've made an impact. But yeah, I just really like Katniss. I think she is an incredibly strong character and such an important young adult character for teens to be reading about. So yeah, definitely Katniss is one of my new favorite characters. I totally understand why people like are obsessed with her. And also all of the kids that we meet in Chain of Gold, all of the characters from the Infernal Devices series had kids, and all of those kids are just wonderful. I literally love them all so much. James Herondale, Lucy Herondale, Cordelia Carstairs, literally so many iconic characters from that new book and that new series, so definitely them as well. The next question is a book that made you cry, and I'm a crier, so I feel like any book that I've read this year. I mean, I do cry very easily, especially with books, but it does take a lot to get me to like full on sob. I will very easily like tear up when reading, but to get me to like full on cry does take a little bit more. But one that definitely made me cry was Fountains of Silence by Ruta Sepetys. I think it's a rule if she writes a book, it will be one that makes you cry. I think that's just a requirement. There definitely were some sad things in this book that made me cry, but it's also just a very emotional story, so this one definitely made me shed a few tears. I also did cry quite a bit reading Mockingjay. I mean, there were a lot of emotional character deaths in this book and just a lot of emotional storylines with this one, so I did cry a bit reading this one as well, even though I didn't love it as much as the other two books in the trilogy. It still was emotional to read, and I definitely cried. So the next question is a book that made you happy. Oh, I know what to do for this. So for a book that made me happy, I'm gonna go with Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I thought this book was a lot of fun. There were a lot of like funny pop culture references in here. The characters were just really funny. I really enjoyed this. I definitely don't think that I love it as much as other people do. I gave it 5 stars. I would say it's more of like a 4.5. I know a lot of people don't like this either, but I do know that it's very well loved. I did really enjoy it. I definitely don't love it as much as everybody else, but a lot of like the humor in here was just so good. The pop culture references, the references to Taylor Swift and BTS and Stranger Things. It's literally my entire personality, so it was great. So yeah, this one definitely made me quite happy. It was really funny and really cute as well. I mean, there were some angsty moments, but it was just really fun and definitely would recommend. The next question is the most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. Okay, well, I have to talk about this book that I just bought recently that I was showing earlier. A Song of Wrath and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown is literally beautiful. This cover, like, I don't know if you can see that, but it's beautiful. The design behind the woman on the cover is just, it's just beautiful. The writing, all the dots, everything. It's just really pretty. Also, I was talking about this cover earlier, but Chain of Gold by Santa Claire, I mean, I'm obsessed with this cover. I'm so excited to see the covers for the rest of this trilogy because this one is stunning. So yeah, definitely some of my favorite covers that I have purchased or received this year. We are finally on to the last question, so that is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Oh, so many. Let's just bring this back. A Song of Wrath and Ruin I need to read. I need to read Clap When You Land. Just went through my shelf and picked up a bunch of books that I need to read, so I need to read The Diviners. I haven't read this series yet. Everybody loves it, and I've had this book for half the year. I think I bought it right after Christmas or around Christmas, so it's time. Also, The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I really want to read this one. I really feel like I'm gonna love this series. I think the third book is coming out this year, so I would love to read it and the second one in time for that one, but who knows if that's gonna happen. But I just feel like I'm really gonna like this book, so I need to read this one as well. And then also Crier's War by Nina Varela. I think the sequel is coming out this year as well. Another sequel coming out. But yeah, I need to read this by the end of the year. I've had these three books, the last three books that I just said, for a while. They've been on my shelf, I think, since December at least. So it's time. I should read them. Okay, so that is the last question for the mid-year book freakout tag. Still don't know if that's the right title, but I think it is. And I now have a pile of books on my bed next to me, so that'll be fun to put away. But yeah, I think that that is going to complete this video. So let me know if you want to answer any of these questions down below. Feel free. Let me know what your favorite book you've read so far this year is, and a exciting new release for the second half of the year that you're excited for. I want to know. I want to know all of the exciting new releases for the rest of the year because I have a lot that I'm looking forward to, but I'm always looking for more, so let me know down below. But yeah, that is going to complete this video, so don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you have not already. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.